Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you've been keeping up with our Attack on Titan series, you know those early seasons, they were all about that existential dread, right? Titans smashing walls, humanity just trying to survive.
Yeah, pure survival horror.
But then season 3 hits, and it just throws this massive curveball. Suddenly, the enemy isn't 50 feet tall.
No.
The real threat is, well, it's the system. The corrupt government hiding inside the walls.
It's such a fascinating shift, isn't it? From, like you said, survival horror straight into this intense political thriller.
Exactly.
The whole focus flips. It moves to this deep foundational lie that their entire society was built on. And it forces everyone, us, the Survey Corps, the characters themselves, to stop looking up at the monsters.
And start looking inward.
Right, inward at the power structures, the secrets.
And that huge structural change is exactly what we are digging into today. This is in Spiral Bites,
where we usually tackle, everything from music lyrics and legal cases to, well, these deep dives into anime.
And hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out.
Yeah, definitely. So today's focus, the Royal Government Arc, or the Uprising Arc, and we're centering it on this powerful transformation that we're calling Historia's truth.
We really want to get into the psychology of her character, the political maneuvering that happens, and that shocking history that just demanded some kind of revolution.
To even begin to understand the uprising, you have to start with the person right at the heart of it all.
Historia. Or, well, first Krista Lenz, right? That dual identity.
Right, Krista Lenz versus Historia Reiss. The persona we meet first, Krista, she was very deliberately engineered. Isayama, the creator, even said he initially designed her as a sort of typical Mo character.
The gentle, sweet, idealized girl.
Exactly. But then he felt she was kind of hollow. And that very hollowness, that emptiness, became like the absolute key to her growth in this arc.
And it's fascinating because Krista's kindness, her self-sacrifice, it wasn't really altruism, was it?
Not at all. It was deeper, more psychological. It was this desperate need for worth, driven by, frankly, suicidal impulses. She wasn't trying to save others so much as seeking a noble death.
A way to finally mean something. Brutal.
It is, and that's why Ymir was so incredibly important for her.
Wait.
Ymir didn't just tell her, be good. Ymir told her to stop looking for validation, stop trying to die for others, and live with pride. For herself.
Which meant confronting the people, the system that had hurt her.
Exactly, a commitment to life, not just waiting for death.
And choosing life meant confronting, well, the entire history of their world. Because Historia, as a Reiss, she's the descendant of the real royal family.
The ones who held the founding Titan power. But that power, it was shackled, chained by history itself.
Which brings us to the big lie. The first king.
Yes, the architect of their ignorance. He was apparently ashamed of Eldia's past, the centuries of conquest, the atrocities committed using Titan powers.
Well, he builds the walls, Maria, Rose, Sina.
Okay.
But then he does something drastic.
He uses the founder's power to wipe the memories of almost everyone inside those walls. Every subject of Ymir, basically anyone who could potentially become a Titan.
He manufactured ignorance.
Deliberately. He didn't just want safety. He wanted a controlled, forgotten past.
But okay, why the memory wipe? If you felt that much shame, why not just let Eldia fade away? Why build the walls only to trap people in ignorance?
Control. It always comes back to control, doesn't it?
Seems like it.
To make sure his artificial peace lasted, the first king bound his successors, anyone of royal blood who inherited the founding Titan, with this vow-renouncing war.
And that vow meant?
It meant they could never use the founder offensively. No waging war, no wiping out the Titans outside the walls. It basically locked the Reiss family, and by extension everyone inside the walls, into this perpetual status quo. Peace through ignorance and fear.
Wow. Okay, so that's the historical bombshell. And then politically, things shift incredibly fast, triggered by the interior military police.
Yeah, the murder of Pastor Nick, he knew things, right?
He knew about the walls being full of Titans.
And the government silenced him. Brutally. That, plus the attempt to kidnap Eren and Historia, that was the final straw for Commander Erwin.
He saw the government wasn't just useless, it was actively hostile.
Exactly. Hostile to humanity's survival.
Yeah.
So he launches this incredibly audacious plan: overthrow the puppet king, expose the real power structure.
And install Historia as the rightful queen.
Right, to legitimize the whole coup in the eyes of the public.
And pulling this off required some serious deception. Erwin's trial. That whole thing was a setup, wasn't it?
Well, absolutely. He was dragged before the council, accused of treason, basically, violating the Charter of Humanity for prioritizing the Survey Corps. But it was all theater.
Orchestrated with Commander Pike's.
Right. The real test, the masterstroke, was faking that report about Wall Roads being breached.
To see how the nobles would react.
And they reacted exactly as Erwin predicted. Under pressure, they showed their true colors. Ordered the inner gates sealed. Keep the refugees out.
Willing to sacrifice potentially everyone in Wall Roads just to save their own comfortable lives in the inner districts.
That callousness, that utter disregard for the people when that was exposed, especially to key military figures like Niall Dock.
A military turned.
The military turned. The council was arrested. The Survey Corps exonerated. The coup succeeded.
And we shouldn't forget the media angle either. Hang saving Flegel Reeves.
Oh, right. Flegel then uses his influence, his voice, to tell the public in Stoas what really happened, exposes the government's lies.
Which helped cement the legitimacy of the coup. It wasn't just a military takeover. Public opinion shifted too.
But it wasn't just political maneuvering and trials. This uprising got bloody.
Yeah, for Levi's squad, the fight changed completely. Suddenly, they weren't fighting Titans.
They were fighting other humans, the Interior Military Police and Kenny Ackerman's squad.
Kenny Ackerman, Levi's uncle, a former serial killer working for the government. That just screams corruption, doesn't it?
It perfectly encapsulates it. It shows the authority they were fighting wasn't built on justice, but on, well, brutal efficiency and secrets.
And the cost of fighting humans, that hits hard, especially for someone like Armin.
Oh, absolutely. That moment. Jean's life is on the line, and Armin, who's always been the strategist, the thinker, not the killer.
He has to pull the trigger. He has to kill someone.
And Levi understands how shattering that is, but he doesn't coddle him. He forces Armin to face it.
Embrace the new you.
Chilling, isn't it? It's this brutal initiation. Welcome to the reality of revolution. Sometimes, to save your friends, you have to become something else.
That moral compromise. It's the real price of changing the world, isn't it?
It seems to be, in this story at least.
Yeah.
Which brings everything to that confrontation in the cavern beneath the chapel.
Yeah, the climax.
Yeah.
Aaron chained up. Rod Reiss, Historia's father.
Desperately trying to get Historia to inject herself with that Titan serum, become a Titan, eat Aaron, and take back the founding Titan for the Reiss family.
Rod's kitsch is all about duty, right?
Yeah.
He claims the Reiss family has to do this, that the vow prevents them saving humanity any other way.
But Historia, by this point, she sees through it. She realizes his motive isn't saving humanity. It's just restoring his family's lost power. It's selfish.
And the manga gives a bit more insight here, right? Something about Frida.
Yeah, it's a key detail. In the manga, Historia has this flashback, this really specific memory of her half-sister Frida, who held the founder before Grisha took it.
What happens?
Frida suddenly snaps at her, acts completely out of character, almost like she's possessed for a moment by something else, something older and colder, and that memory clicks for Historia.
It proves something's wrong.
Deeply wrong with the Reiss family narrative, with the founder's power, maybe with the vow itself. It gives her this personal, concrete reason to reject her father's whole plan. It's not just abstract duty anymore. She knows something is broken.
And that gives her the strength to refuse the syringe.
To declare finally, I am Historia Reiss, and I will live for myself.
And then she flips her dad, physically flips him over.
Which is just such a perfect physical manifestation of her rejecting everything he stands for. It's the absolute end of Krista. This is Historia claiming her own life, her own path, pure self-determination.
She chooses not to be a pawn. And then she agrees to become queen.
Yes, but on her own terms. Not as Rod's puppet, not bound by the first king's will, but as herself. As a leader who understands the truth and the suffering.
And that refusal to be used, it continues later, doesn't it? With the whole pregnancy storyline.
Exactly. That was hugely controversial, but the point was, it was her choice. A desperate one, maybe, but hers. She did it specifically to avoid being turned into a breeding machine by the military in Hizuru.
They wanted her to inherit the beast Titan and just produce heirs for the next 50 years.
Perpetuating the cycle. And she refused. She wouldn't use her own children as tools the way her family, her mother, had used her. It's her breaking that Reiss cycle of exploitation one last time.
So when you put it all together, Historia's journey is the Uprising Arc. She sheds that fake Krista identity.
Exposes the massive lie at the heart of their society, the memory wipe, the vow.
And her choices, her existence, basically fuels the entire political revolution against that corrupt, deceitful monarchy.
Yeah, and this deep dive, I think it really shows how these epic stories, even with giant monsters in action, they're fundamentally about something deeply human.
Personal growth.
Personal growth, self-acceptance, fighting free from trauma, from lies, especially the ones passed down through generations or embedded in systems. Historia's personal choice to live with pride literally changed her world.
It's powerful stuff. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Historia's truth.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
And if you want more breakdowns like this, anime, music, legal topics, you name it, please remember to like this video and subscribe to Inspiro Bytes.
We appreciate the support. And maybe something to think about until next time.
Ooh, a provocative final thought.
Always. So the Uprising Arc, it succeeded, right? They brought down the corrupt crown. They installed a new government led by the military.
Right. Problem solved.
Well, not exactly, because that new regime, especially later under the Jaegerists, it pretty quickly becomes its own kind of militarized monarchy, doesn't it?
Good point.
So it makes you wonder. In a world that seems so governed by bloodlines, by these deterministic memories like the Founders, is real revolution against a broken system even possible? Or does power just swap one master for another?
Ooh, heavy. Something to chew on. We'll leave you with that. See you next time on The Deep Dive.